Hi guys, it's Mary and her books. Welcome to my October book haul. And before we get started, I'm just going to get a few housekeeping things out of the way. Number one, when I started this adventure several weeks ago, I was like, oh, it's going to be so easy to record at least one video, edit it in my not talented at editing at all way, and get it out. And I have found that that's not at all the case. Number one, if you are a full-time worker, as I am, and you have other things going on, I take my hat off to these people that are able to put out one or more videos a week. I mean, bravo. Because it's a time commitment. You have to have the time to try to pull everything together to do the video, and then film it, edit it, get it uploaded. There's a lot of work there, and you know that there's a lot of work, but you don't realize it until you actually do it. So bravo to all of those that are doing it and doing it so well. And the second thing is, we always laugh when you have people that post videos and they're like, sorry for all the background noise, my AC is running, or this or that. And I'm going to say it today because they are doing construction across the street from me, and this is the only time I possibly have to film is after work. So I'm hoping you won't hear the construction vehicles coming in and out, but if you do, sorry, it is what it is. But yeah, now I'm one of those people talking about the background noise. So anyway, let's get to what's important, my book haul. Now, this year, one of my goals has been to reduce my TBR. I'm not going to tell you where it is and what I want to get it to, but it's a decent little reduction, and I've done pretty well. But I love books, so I do tend to buy books, and most of them I buy used, so I'm doing a trade at the used bookstore, so I don't feel bad about that. But everything I have to show you today are new books that I purchased, and I'll kind of explain to you why I allowed these exceptions into my TBR, and why I chose to spend the money on buying new books. I think it's important to support authors, and I do try to buy some new books when I can. And these were the ones that kind of made the cut as to why I purchased them. So let's just get started with that. The first one I'm going to show you is the only book I had on my Amazon pre-order for this month. And I mean, I had to. Let's just be honest. I had to. I've gotten each of these as they've come out, the Harry Potter illustrated editions, and there was no way I wasn't getting this. I was not disappointed last year because that sounds so serious, but you know, one of these didn't come out last year because they needed more time, because the Goblet of Fire is a larger book and they wanted more time to get all the illustrations done properly. So one didn't come out last year. But this year, for the holiday season, you bet I was going to have this. And I haven't opened it yet, like to look at the illustrations, because I kind of want to do it when I'm in the mood to just feel that nostalgia of Harry Potter and see these beautiful illustrations that, is his name? Yeah, Jim Kay does for these books. They are fantastic. If you haven't been a Harry Potter fan, I think these illustrated editions are a wonderful way to get into it. But seriously, if you're not a Harry Potter fan, who are you? Really. But even if you are a fan, if you can afford it, if you get a gift card, so worth the money. These are gorgeous, beautiful. They will take you back. You need these in your life. So yeah, this will be one of my books for November, December. I'm kind of holding it for somewhere in the holidays where I'm in a great mood and I just want to sit on the couch with a cup of cocoa or a hot tea and reread The Goblet of Fire with these illustrations. I can't wait. Now, the next book I bought a week or two after it came out because I actually had it on pre-order and took it off because I'm trying to be a good girl. And then, sorry, still recovering from a little bit of a cold. But I got a gift card for $20 to Amazon, and I was like, okay, I know exactly what I'm getting. And it should come as no surprise to anyone that knows me. Stephen King's The Institute, his newest book. I have been hearing some good things about it, and I usually would have pre-ordered this, but again, I'm trying to knock down my TBR. But if someone gives me a gift card, hello, I'm getting the book. So, Stephen King's The Institute will be, again, probably a priority book for me in November or December, and I can't wait. This is supposed to be a good one. It's so pretty. I know some people don't like this American cover. They prefer the UK cover, but I think it's not the best cover, but I like it. So, very much looking forward to this. Okay, the next book that I got was, I went into a local independent bookstore in my, not the town I live in, but the town next to it that actually has bookstores, because the town I live in is too small to even have bookstores. And I always try to buy something when I go in there, because I want our independent bookstores to thrive. So, I bought my husband a James Bond book that he wanted. He's been trying to collect a certain edition of these James Bond books. So I bought that for him, and I wanted this book, but they didn't have this one in this series, the first one. So I asked them to order it for me, and when it came in, I went and picked it up. But the Witcher series, it's called The Last Wish. Now, what's interesting is on their shelves, they had 3 books in this series, and they were 1, 2, 3 on the spines. And so it's a little confusing, but my understanding is that there are 2 books of short stories that precede those first 3 books, and you really should read those first 2 books of short stories before you get into the full-length novels. And this is the first one. It's called The Last Wish. The Witcher is going to be a series. Is it Netflix? I don't know. I don't keep up with stuff like that. But The Witcher is going to be a television series, and it has a ton of fans that are very into it. So I was like, okay, let me see what I think about this series. If I like this book of short stories, I'll continue with it. If not, no harm, no foul. You gotta try some new stuff. But I believe this was originally written in Polish and translated, if I'm remembering correctly. If that's incorrect, I'll try to put it on the screen. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I hope I'll get to this before the end of the year. If not, I would say definitely by January. Now, the next 4 books that I got were purchased on a mini vacation that my husband and I took. And, you know, I didn't have anything in particular that I was looking for, but if I go on vacation, I tend to allow a little bit of the budget to buy books, because Mary, books, it is what it is. The first one that I got was this one, Dean Koontz, The Silent Corner. I haven't read any Dean Koontz in quite a while, and I remember liking most of his books when I read them, but it's been a while. And the story behind choosing this one may sound bad to some people, but don't take it that way. So again, there is a small independent bookstore across the road from this bed and breakfast that we were staying at. And we had stayed there before and been to this bookstore before. It's pretty small. And if I go in there, I try to always buy something just because I want to support them. And I don't even remember what I purchased last time. But this year I was looking, and she had several books that I liked, and they have a whole section of sci-fi and fantasy, which is my stuff. They had a whole section of mysteries, which I love. But nothing was catching my eye. The few books that did catch my eye were books that I already owned or had read. So I actually was about to leave without buying anything, which was making me feel a little anxiety. Strange. But then I had a coughing fit because I was really kind of just starting to get over this. I say coughing fit and then I cough. I just had to edit out a coughing fit, which was the reason for this purchase, was a coughing fit, because I'm a little strange. I got anxiety, like embarrassment from getting this coughing fit in her store. The poor lady was like, "Can I get you a water?" Yes, thank you so much, bookshop lady, for giving me a bottled water when I couldn't stop coughing. And I had to buy something at that point. And then as I was coughing, I turned and see a whole section. It was this very small section that I had missed where she had compiled a lot of Stephen King and Dean Koontz books. So I went over and I was planning to buy Stephen King because I love Stephen King. And the only one I thought about getting was Carrie because I don't have a physical copy of that. And I picked it up and I was about to get it and I was like, you know what? Try something new. So I chose this one because it looked good. It was the first novel in a Jane Hawk series by him, and I was like, I don't love mass market paperbacks, but Siri's trying to tell me something. I didn't ask her any questions. What's going on? But anyway, I decided to give this one a shot. So if any of you have read it, let me know. Or if you have a favorite Dean Koontz. Like I said, I read several of his books years and years ago. So even if I've read it before, I probably don't remember much of it. I think the one I remember most is Intensity, and that's because they made, was it a movie out of it? And I kind of am remembering the two of them together. But I'm kind of looking forward to kind of going back in time and reading something from an author that I used to like to see how much my tastes have really changed. So this one I hope to get to sometime this winter. So let's say before like February or so, I hope to get to this one. Now, the other three books I got are from Barnes & Noble because we one day went exploring and we found this great shopping center that had everything in it, and we were kind of riding through there deciding if we were going to stop anywhere, and of course I saw a Barnes & Noble and I was like, must go. So I knew I was going to buy something there. So there's kind of a story behind each of these books too as to why I chose them. But the thing I love about Barnes & Noble, and I know Barnes & Noble isn't everyone's cup of tea, but the thing I love about them is that you can get almost any book you want, you can get there. But they also have really great kind of clearance and markdown sections of books that were just off kind of the popular list, the best-selling lists. So some overstock from those things. They usually have a good selection in their clearance area. And they always have, I find, a good selection of lower-priced classics. And that was one of the places I was looking, was in that kind of classics section where they have decent prices. And the first book that I got is a classic, and it's a chunker, The Count of Monte Cristo. I have an ebook of this that I got, I believe, for free, because it is an older book, and a lot of those you can get ebooks for nothing for Kindle. And I will probably read part of it on ebook, but I really like having a physical copy for something this large because I kind of like to go back and forth. I'm not always in the mood to read on my Kindle. So I found this one. It was $7.98, so a great price for a hardback. It's really pretty, and it says it's like 1,060 pages, but goodness gracious, doesn't it look bigger than that? This will be a 2020 project for me. So what I'm going to do to get through this, because I've heard so many great things about this reading experience, that even people that don't always love classics seem to love this one. People that don't love big books seem to love this one. So I have very high hopes for it. But I'm also going to be realistic with myself in that I won't read this in one sitting. I won't read this in 1 week. I probably won't read it in 1 month. This is something that I'm going to allow to be kind of a project over 2020, and it will stay kind of in a priority area in one of my reading areas. And when I'm in the mood, I will read, 50 to 100 pages of it and just plan with a goal to get through it by the end of 2020. So I'm pretty excited about this. If any of you have read The Count of Monte Cristo, and I keep wanting to say it in the French version because the wonderful Books with Emily Fox, that's kind of the way she says it, because she speaks both French and English, and her primary language is French, and the way she says it is so beautiful. But yeah, I keep thinking it her way in my head, so I have to slowly remind myself to say The Count of Monte Cristo in the American way, because my 2 years of high school French aren't going to make me say it as beautifully as she did. But yeah, I'm very excited about this one, and it was a great price. My only, they had a sticker on it, and there's still some stickiness here. I will be able to get it off. That's happened to me so many times before. But why do they have to put stickers on the front of books? Don't do it. First world problems, I know. Okay. The next classic I got was Peter Pan. And I just couldn't resist this beautiful edition. This was, again, wasn't a priority book for me, but it was one that was kind of on my list of, I'd like to read this at some point, and as I'm revisiting classics, and I don't think I ever read this as a child or as a teenager, so this would be a first read for me, and I knew I wanted to get to it, and they had it there, this beautiful hardback. I don't know if this light is going to do it justice, but this beautiful hardback with the silver lined edges. It's got kind of the sparkly silver. Oh, hey. It's just beautiful. And it was $10. I couldn't pass it up. I mean, it was like they were giving it to me. It was at least calling my name. I know that. So, very excited. Probably again, if I bring a book into my TBR, I try to get to it within like 6 months. So all of these I will try to get to as soon as possible. And this is a small one, so it may be just one day I'm in the mood for it and I pick it up. And the last book is a guilty pleasure book for me. And what I mean by that is I actually already have a physical copy of this. And I have never, well, I can't say never, hardly ever purchase a book when I already have a copy of it. Even if I love it, I usually don't do that just for the edition. It's happened once or twice before, but this is unusual for me. But there's a story behind this. One thing I've been doing for the past several years is reading through Agatha Christie's library. And I really didn't read in any particular order. I didn't read like all the Poirots in order. I didn't read in her publication order. I just was trying to get through all the books. 99% of the books I have on my shelf for her are books that I bought used. Most of them at the used bookstore. Some of them I bought used through Amazon. So I really just got them as I found them and collected. And I love my Agatha Christie collection. If anyone's interested in seeing it, you all may not love it because it's a mishmash of different editions. different sizes. Some are in great condition, some are in not so great condition. Some I've had to actually tape the spine to hold it together, and I'm fine with that. I love my collected editions of Agatha Christie. But one thing I decided a few weeks ago was to start a Facebook book club called Agatha Christie Book Nerds, because I want to reread. At this point, I've read almost everything. There are just less than 10 books and maybe less than 5 Agatha Christie books that I have not read at this point. And I really want to go back and start to reread her in publication order. I couldn't decide if I was going to read the Poirots first and then the Marples and then everything else, but I decided to just read from publication order. So we'll start with her first published book and read on through. So we're going to get a little bit of everything. We're going to get standalones, we're going to get Poirots, we're going to get Marples, Tommy and Tuppence, a little bit of everything. If you're interested in joining, I would love to have you. I've just kind of shared it with my friends at this point. So I will put a link in the description box if you're interested in joining the group on Facebook. And we're going to start in January. So I had that in my head as I was walking through Barnes & Noble. And I always look at the Christie section when I go into any bookstore. And they had this... They're kind of replica. I don't know the specific name of these, and I had only seen them online in hardback, I believe, but this is a trade paperback, a replica cover of her first published book, which was a Poirot, which is The Mysterious Affair at Styles. So it's the first book we'll be reading in January, and I just could not resist it. I couldn't. I felt a little guilty because I already have a copy, but I was like, you know what? You work hard. You deserve this. So this will be the book we read in January in my book club. And yes, it's a second copy for me. I don't even know if I will do my January reading with this. This may just become a collector thing for me. And I'm not sure if all of her books are going to be coming out in this format. I'm not sure if I'm going to try to collect everything in this edition. I don't know. I just felt like I wanted this one. It was $9.95. I paid full price for it. But that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes you have to treat yourself. But yeah, I am really, really looking forward to this reread, and I've got a notebook where I'm going to keep notes because I really want to kind of examine Agatha Christie's writing and how it progressed through the years, and what I now, looking at it, having read almost everything, what are my real favorites from her? And which ones did I think were stinkers? Because even though I love Agatha Christie, she had some stinkers. And we're going to go back and take a look at that. So if you're interested in joining, I will put a link in the description box. If not, starting in January, expect to see some wrap-ups from me. I don't know if I'll do any standalone reviews of the books because that's been done 1,000 times, but you will see these included in my wrap-ups each month. So, yeah, very excited. And that's it. So, a pretty big haul for me, not according to BookTube standards where, you know, they'll have so many books that they can't even hold them. But for me, this was a pretty big haul. I don't think you would see a haul like this from me every month. If I had this many books, again in a haul, it would be from the used bookstore. So this was a little bit of an exception. But if you've read any of these, if you're interested in reading any of them with me, let me know. That could be exciting to do a read along. But yeah, that's it. So that's it for my October book haul, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye!